Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1640, written by Adam Hathaway. The Mama Flower is Tired. After my grandfather passed away, my grandmother, who was in the late stages of Alzheimer's, would look at the clouds and have full conversations with him. We told her that he passed away, but she never seemed to remember. I was around 16 or so and decided to go visit her in her nursing home. I came in and she was having a deep conversation with the clouds above. I said hello, and she told my grandfather that they would talk later. We talked for a while. I took her to lunch in the cafeteria, and then we came back to the room for her pudding. She told me she was tired and missed John, my grandfather. I teared up, swallowed the ball that had materialized in my throat, and told her it's okay. I told her that she doesn't have to hold on any longer, that she could go be with him. My grandmother smiled, walked over to her rocking chair, pointed at the embroidered throw that hung over the back of it. "You see this?" she said, pointing to the largest purple flower embroidered on the blanket. "This is the mama flower. And these," she said, pointing to 3 smaller flowers surrounding it. "These are the baby flowers." I noted that she had 3 babies too. She gave me a smile and a look that could only be translated into, "No crap, shut up and listen." She pointed back at the large flower and said, "The mama flower is tired, but still has to take care of the 3 baby flowers." "Yeah, but the baby flowers aren't babies anymore. They're grown up and can take care of themselves." She looked at me and said, "The baby flower has to die before the mama flower can go." At that moment, my stomach dropped and I couldn't hold back the tears. I told her I loved her and headed home. When I got home, I wasn't sure if I should tell my mom what happened, but she knew something was wrong and eventually got it out of me. She laughed it off and went about her day. About 2 weeks later, we received a phone call from a local hospital. They asked my mother if she was related to insert name of a strange uncle. She said that she wanted nothing to do with him and hung up. They called her back immediately and begged her not to hang up. They said that her brother had been in a serious car accident while running from the police and was being kept alive on life support. In fact, to the best of my understanding, his brain was severely swollen and a part of his skull was removed. It was currently being kept alive in his stomach. The doctor said that we wouldn't be held liable for any medical bills, but they needed someone from the family to give them permission to take him off life support. Eventually, my mom and her sister went to say their goodbyes, giving the hospital the permission they were seeking. The next day, I accompanied my mother to the nursing home to tell my grandmother what happened. As we entered the doorway of her room, she turned to us, smiled, and said, "See, I told you, the baby had to go first." My mother absolutely lost it. Went to her primary nurse and was livid that someone told her mother that her only son had died. The nurse looked at my mom and said, "I've been the only one in her room today. I swear to God I didn't tell her anything. I haven't even told the other nurses." 2 weeks later, my grandmother passed away. She was buried with her son's urn in the crook of her arm. Case on to file 1640. That deep connection that I hope to have one day, that I think can only be achieved either through your children or through extremely close loved one, someone that you devote your entire being to. Outside of that, you can have really close friends and that's great, but it doesn't achieve this level. It's almost like voluntary quantum entanglement. You are decidedly choosing to attach yourself to another soul, to the most fundamental level that there is. Regardless of the choices he made in his life, which sound like they weren't good, at the end of the day, he was still her baby flower. And the mama flower had to stick around until the very bitter end. Bonus file written by Amy Tolu 94. Get out of my body! My ex had left for 2.5 months for a field op. I was all alone in the house. I started hearing odd things at night. One noise that stood out was the sound of a broom with a wooden handle falling onto the linoleum floor several times in a minute or two before stopping. This didn't happen every night. Maybe once a week, and every night and morning that broom rested against the counter in the kitchen, fully upright. Then I began to have odd dreams. Not necessarily scary or nightmares, just a little creepy. In one of them, I couldn't make it outside the bedroom as I kept falling back on the bed when I stood up. I remember thinking it was weird, so I recited a prayer in my head. I couldn't speak. Something in the closet felt wrong. The last dream I had was intense. I woke up, totally unsure if I was awake or dreaming. I slept with the comforter over my head and woke up in the dream, in the exact same way I was lying before. I had what felt like wind blowing up against me. It was loud and powerful. I resisted it. Twice more it happened and got stronger and stronger. So I imagined myself as a mountain climber pulling herself up to resist what felt like me being blown right off my bed. The final time was bad. I felt myself giving in to the wind, but something told me not to. In my head I screamed, "No, this is my body, you get out!" And the wind roared and stopped. I officially woke up and laid there still for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, because for the first time I was too terrified to move. After talking to my ex, I realized in every dream I saw a red light. He said it was a sign that something good was watching over me, but there was something evil in the house too. The rest of the night and my next day, my cat stared at the walls and closet. He performed a ritual. I laid down salt, and nothing bothered me again. I'm an atheist, but I was fully ready to go to church after that. Case notes for the bonus file. Get out of my body! Go check out my Patreon. I have extra content there, horror stories, reactions to shows I've never seen, or if you just like to support the channel, much obliged. Now onto the notes. I think this was a manifestation of what it's like to be possessed or to be attempted to be possessed. I don't think it just happens like that. Like in Supernatural, the spirit just flies into your mouth and you have no way to defend yourself. No. I think we have a certain barrier. Our own soul provides that. We're not necessarily consciously aware of it, but in the dream state, maybe we do have some conscious awareness if some force is trying to penetrate through and take control of us. And just the verbal in your dream, scream of "get out of my body," I think that is all it took. Everything else, the ritual, the salt, I don't think it was even necessary. At that point, you made yourself clear, and it could no longer take control of you. Or even try to. Now time for the joke of the day. I want to die peacefully in my sleep, like my grandfather did. Not screaming in terror like the passenger in his car. Oh no. That is something that happens where people have medical emergencies, or just pass out because they're tired and driving, and if you have a passenger, well, that's unfortunate. Let's hope that doesn't happen to any of us. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.